Hi, welcome to One for the Road, where we navigate sobriety, recovery, and life in general. Tune in as we share our experience and opinions while answering any questions you may have. My name's Marissa. This is my co-host, Judy.
Hello. Forgot her name.
I can't. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, notify, do all the stuff. We're on TikTok. We don't do TikTok very well. Judy's going to start a TikTok for her Etsy shop, just so everyone knows.
We'll get
Putting
it
her out there. Yeah, putting her out there, even though she doesn't want me to. But yeah. So, okay. We yesterday was Mother's Day. Fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that prompts some conversations. And we're coming up on summer, and Memorial Day is coming, and 4th of July, and Father's Day, and holidays and changing of seasons, especially summer, is very challenging for the partiers, right? For the partiers, can't be partiers anymore. Summer's a big time. Holidays are challenging, they just are. And so I know for a fact we'll do another one of these episodes come like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, but let's talk about the holidays and how much pressure, how wanting to drink
and
gets prompted.
Right. And for whatever reason, right? Like, just the overall summer, like Saturday, like that's the thing, especially coming from the Midwest. I think that I relate to that, right? It starts to get warm, and then the motorcycles come out, and the boats come out, and the bar hop, and all of that idea of what life used to look like before getting sober. And it could be challenging, and then throw in holidays to boot, like that was the thing. Mother's Day yesterday was super challenging,
Well, and you just read on Reddit.
I did, or Twitter was one of them, right? Yeah. Like, can I stay sober through the summer? That was the question. And I went, wow.
Oh, I was talking about the Mother's Day one. That one was cracking me up.
Mother's Day one too. Oh yeah. Then there was the Mother's Day one, started a fight on Mother's Day, and this is me without drugs. The fuck, know, for sure. But isn't that something? I thought about it. I thankfully didn't have to start a fight with anybody, right? I moved states. My kids are in another state, and, and my mom, passed away. That in itself was challenging. Don't think that there wasn't some emotion, from missing my mom. There was a time when I would be like, fuck, it's Mother's Day. I have to go over to see my mom. And now I'm in a position where I don't have that option, but, the good news is that today I didn't think about a drink. I ate a banana split, that's that sort of thing. But the challenge is to manage myself and manage my emotions, right? Like that thing, it was Mother's Day and I started a fight anyway. Me without drugs. What do I look like? What do I look like today?
Yeah. Well, as far as and I know we're kind of talking about like a wide range of like topics, but let's narrow it down with Mother's Day for a second. Like, I don't have the best relationship with my mom. Yeah. And it's not that I have a bad relationship. We just don't really have a relationship. Not really. So I was the one who was like, fuck, like, do I go get her something and then just make myself uncomfortable and then do all that or whatever, and I ended up texting her. And then I kind of feel bad that I just texted her, right? Like, could I have called? But if I would have called, then I would have gotten a resentment and then this. And so again, like we've talked about family, we talked about that in the relationship series. Trigger, with Father's Day coming up and people get together on holidays, and it's family that triggers you.
Right. I don't even know if it's a holiday. It could,
it's but right. Isn't that true though? Like, you're expected, or there's this idea that for Mother's Day you're hanging out with your mom, but if you don't have a great relationship with your mother, like then you're worrying about a lot of things. Or if your mom is gone and you're sad, like those are feelings that I would drink over, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So yesterday I just had to do what I could do, right? Yesterday for Mother's Day, and this applies to every holiday that I have, whether whether my parents are gonna have a 4th of July party or anything. Like, I do what I know that I am capable of handling today, right now. I knew yesterday I was not capable of going over to my mom's house and pretending that we're something that we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Just not. I have respect for the lady. She raised me. I think she did a pretty decent job. No big deal, whatever. I text her, and I'm sure I'm a selfish asshole, and I'm certainly sure that a lot of people would have a lot of comments like I'm a disrespectful, spoiled brat, but that's all right. But I have to, like, I do have to watch out for myself today. And I have to remember that, like, anytime I'm in a spot where I am triggered emotionally, like, I have to watch out for that, because my being triggered can take me to a really dark place, right? It is a life or death, kind of situation for me. And I work hard to improve those things, right? When things are good, I try, what can I do? How can I stomach it? How can I handle it for a little bit of time? But I'm not there yet.
Right.
I'm hoping to get there, just not there yet.
And I think that's a really important key, right? Like, the goal is to not have it be the way it is, right? It's just not happening now. And so there's a bit of patience involved, in patience, not just with others, but with self. You know, those are those things. And so when holidays roll around and the expectations of people and the expectations of what the events are and what it looks like, going to a 4th of July party, just for the sake of the argument, or a Mother's Day event, right? Used to be an all-day affair, and today I can set limits on those things and just go show face and then leave, right? Like, those are the things. And that's how I managed in early sobriety, with going to family functions. We talked a little bit about that, right? And what it looks like. And so those are things too. And so you did do exactly what you could do, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it wasn't met with any resistance on her end. Sometimes for moms, it's just nice to be thought of. Don't need the 17 hours of visiting, don't need the big dinner, don't need the big gifts, just a, hey, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Well, and so, even past Mother's Day, like, let's talk about like the 4th of July parties and stuff like that, right? Like, know what you're walking into, right? Like, if I know what I'm going to walk into with people that I'm emotionally triggered by, I no longer go to 4th of July parties unless it's a sober 4th of July party, right? Because just watching a bunch of other people get drunk doesn't interest me, and there are people that like drink to get drunk. And then there are other people that have parties, nobody that I ever hung out with, but other people that just have parties and there's drinking there, right? There's a difference. There are people out there that have parties, have gatherings, and sure, people are drinking. There are other people that their intent is to get drunk and they're out there making a fool. I have no interest in those parties anymore. I can be somewhere where there's alcohol, so long as my motive is right. My family has parties, they, have alcohol at them and stuff like that. But no one's aim is to get shit-faced that day.
Right. And stay up for 2 days and not go to work, for sure. Right.
Exactly. So embarking on like, summer with barbecues and stuff like that, like, I have to analyze, like, when I'm invited, like, what kind of people are these? Like, are they the people that, because if you're the kind of people just get smashed, I got no business going there. If I'm going to a party and a handful of people drink, cool, no problem, right? Like, I'm not triggered. I know what to do. If I am afraid because there is going to be casually going to be alcohol there, then like we implement those things, like taking somebody who's sober with us, like, just being aware of our surroundings, right? Like making phone calls, getting out of there. If I feel uncomfortable, getting the hell out of there, like all those things that are coming up. And for me, it's so important to remember that, like, I'm not missing out on anything by not drinking. Right.
Yeah, for sure. I like to always, doing a little bit of self-inventory, right? Before I even respond to an invite, like you said, checking to see, like, I can ask questions today. Well, who's all coming? Right. Mm-hmm. So then I can determine where I'm going to fall in that category, and what's my motive? If my motive is to go see fireworks and to get a burger, then, well, what time are you guys eating? Right. Like, I mean, I can sort of gauge my day. What's going to be more important to me then, just using 4th of July as an example, you know, is seeing the firework display more important than getting the burger? Right. Mm-hmm. So I can, you know, I don't need to go somewhere again for 17 hours like I used to. You know, I did those things. Like if you were having a party at noon, I was there at 10 too, you know, because I would start drinking at 11:30 before I got there. You know, and then I would be the last one to leave, and I don't have to do those things today. So I always do like a small self inventory of what's my motive, you know, to be a part of, for sure, you know, but what's my goal for going? If it's just for social interaction, is 2 hours enough social interaction for me? Do I really need to put myself? Yeah. You know what I mean? But those are things that I would never have thought of before. And so when it comes to just a regular Saturday barbecue in the summer or a beach day, you know, there's other things. I like to bring my car today. You know, I didn't like to bring my car. I wanted somebody else to drive because I knew I was going to get smashed. However, today I like to bring my car. So if we're going to a beach day, I can be like, oh, too much sun, I'm going, you know. Yeah. And I have options now, right? I'm not hinging my sobriety or my well-being on somebody else. You know, I'm taking back a little bit of my power and control over what I can. And that's just my arrival and my departure. And sometimes that's enough. I think that those are the things that I try to keep in the back of my mind when it comes to just summer barbecues and all of that stuff. You know, nobody wants to do shit around here in the winter anyway, right? So I don't have these issues then. Right. That's when these things come up now, you know?
Yeah, so absolutely. And you're right. Like, cause I live in the Midwest, right? Like, and so there is definitely like a big turn of the season, right? Like where we're in winter coats one day and then, you know, then you're in shorts and a tank top and you just feel the summer vibe and it's all about, you know, like getting out in the sun. And I remember, and I am still triggered by warm days, still triggered by warm days where I'm like, man, a nice cold beer, like, and I liked beer, you know, whatever, like, sounds really good, you know, or, you know, my parents have a pool and we would swim and all my friends would come over and we'd drink and, you know, whatever. And so it's like nostalgic, right? Like, so it brings it back summertime, you know, when the sun starts getting nice and, you know, like I totally, like, I will salivate. Like, I'm like over here thinking about the beer.
Right. Yeah. Mine were more like the blender drinks, right? Like, you know,
right.
Slushies with booze.
Yeah. I have to be like conscious of that. I have to be careful about that stuff, you know, and, because I have the same effect, different feeling in like, at like Thanksgiving and Christmas time, right? Like it's all the same stuff, but anytime where you're going to be like not in your own environment, right? Going to a party or anything like that, you know, you said it, you nailed it. Like you said, talking about your motive, like, what am I going there for? Right. Am I stopping in to see people, whatever, you know, what kind of people are they? They're not good or bad. It doesn't matter. But like, are they big drinkers, right? Are they people that, because at some point when you're sober too, like being around a bunch of drunk people, like we're not having conversations, we're not connecting, right. We're not really, that's not really happening. And so don't let me be a damper on your party. Like, love you, gotta go. You right. know what I mean? But I have to be honest, like I haven't, in the amount of time that I, you know, haven't drank, like I haven't really been to any parties like that. I've been to parties where people are drinking, but like their main goal is not, you know, most of the time there's more food than booze. And that's my kind of party too.
And that's my kind of party too. And I agree, you know, things evolved, right? Like more like an early recovery. It wasn't so much the same people and so much as that, you know, it's funny how the universe works, right? Like, even if they were just heavy drinkers and not alcoholic like me, you know, those kinds of things tend to ease their way out of your life naturally, you know? Yeah. And so I too, you know, I could say it's probably been 3 years, but again, you know, going boating with family and doing those kinds of things in the summer, you know, and everybody has a sippy cup filled with booze, you know, those are the things. And so, and I've been in those situations, you know, stuck on a boat, you know, in the middle of the lake and everybody's loaded except for me and my sober partner, you know, and so that made it easier to navigate for sure. Yeah. But it did have me thinking twice about, you know, I'm not packing a lunch for this thing. Right. So I want to go back, you know, and I can be taken back for valid reasons, you know, and so it's always about what's my motive. My motive is always to be a part of something, but to what extent do I need to be a part of,
Yeah.
and that's really what it is for me, because it
No.
wasn't even a holiday. It was just summer.
Right. Yeah. And that was kind of the vibe of the conversation. But, those things are tough though. Like when you have that feeling and you kind of like flash back and remember, like, because at some point the drinking, the gathering, whether it's for Mother's Day or just because it's summer or 4th of July or whatever, like at one point that was like really fun, right? That's just what I did, and it is nostalgic and you kind of want to recreate those feelings, but for me, and we talk about this too, like I have to play that tape through, right? Like if I were to, my life doesn't look like that anymore, right? Because that day or that little time might have been fine, right? That boating experience might have been fine, but what did it look like when I got home? Did I make it home? Who was with me when I got home? Did I know that?
Did I drink the next day?
Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't, it didn't stop. It just, and so I have to play that out and I have to remember that like, sometimes it's not all it's cracked up to be, or it wasn't all it was cracked up, right? It sounds like a good idea at the time.
Right.
My whole drinking career sounded like a good idea at the time, and then here I am, miserable. So I just think that it's important, right? To keep in mind, like our motives for going to the barbecues or going to the Mother's Days or whatever, that should really be the topic of the conversation is your motives. But, you just got to watch out for it, right?
Yeah. How to stay sober. If you're doing it, it's like how do you stay sober through the summer and summer holidays? I think like that might actually be the title, because it's important to know that, because it wasn't so easy when I first got here. It just wasn't. I didn't want to miss a thing. And now I'm willing to miss a couple things. I'm willing to miss
all this stuff. I'm so antisocial since getting sober. It's ridiculous. And I become more and more antisocial the longer I stay around, because I'm just like, oh, people, I'm triggered. I am. I'm so, you don't have to worry about me. And it's not hard. Like I think that's the beauty of like getting, getting sober too, is like, yourself well enough that I don't need to do all that stuff. I don't need to be with people all the time. I don't need to seek all that outside validation, except for the fact that I fucking made podcasts.
Podcast. Please subscribe.
But we don't even do that in person, right? And we're both in the comfort of our own homes.
Exactly.
So yeah. So it was just based off of what we were reading, it was a really good topic to bring it up, and I just thought it was hilarious how it was like, oh, Mother's Day,
for sure,
because there's always so much pressure. Anytime, I mean, at least alcoholics make everything over the top and pressureful. And,
I think we said this today too, a mountain out of a molehill.
Amen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, notify, do all those things, and keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
That's all for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification button so you know when new posts are coming up. Keep coming back.